has been released for all to see. Former Fox News host Tucker Carlson has posted his controversial interview with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Carlson traveled to Moscow for Putin's first interview with a Western media figure in years. It was filmed 2 days ago and is more than 2 hours in length, so we weren't able to watch it in its entirety before going to air tonight. But it all begins with a question about Putin's invasion of Ukraine that began in 2022.
Tell us why you believe the United States might strike Russia out of the blue. How did you conclude that?
It's not that America, the United States, was going to launch a surprise strike on Russia. I didn't say that. Are we having a talk show or a serious conversation?
Here's the quote. Thank you. It's a formidable, serious talk.
Because your basic education is in history, as far as I understand.
Yes.
So if you don't mind, I will take only 30 seconds or 1 minute to give you a short reference to history for giving you a little historical background.
Please.
Well, it definitely wasn't 30 seconds. Putin began with quite a long history lesson on Russia going back centuries. It took up the first 30 minutes of the interview. Interrupting Putin's monologue, Carlson asked more about the future of this ongoing war.
Well, the argument, I know you know this, is that, well, he invaded Ukraine. He has territorial aims across the continent, and you're saying unequivocally you don't.
It is absolutely out of the question. You just don't have to be any kind of analyst. It goes against common sense to get involved in some kind of a global war. And a global war will bring all humanity to the brink of destruction. It's obvious.
Now, in the lead up to the interviews released today, a lot has been happening on the ground in Ukraine, from a prisoner exchange to more Russian drone attacks on innocent civilians. Back on American soil, Hillary Clinton has gone viral after she called out Tucker Carlson for his controversial interview.
He's what's called a useful idiot. I mean, if you actually read translations of what's being said on Russian media, they make fun of him. I mean, he's like a puppy dog.
Hillary Clinton not mincing words as she calls out Tucker Carlson, saying he parrots Putin and his pack of lies about Ukraine.
After having been fired from so many outlets in the United States, I would not be surprised if he emerges with a contract with a Russian outlet.
But the former Secretary of State says there's one thing that scares her the most.
There is a yearning for leaders who can kill and imprison their opponents, destroy the press, lead a life that is one of impunity, unbound by any laws. There's a yearning among certain people in our country for that kind of leadership, and I find that absolutely gobsmacking terrifying.
Carlson's access to Putin has been in stark contrast to the 2 U.S. citizens who are currently imprisoned on charges related to their reporting work.
You know what is actually happening to journalists in Russia who are trying to have a balanced and open opinion. They appear in jail, and then their international community is trying to get them out of jail. So there is absolutely no question to why Tucker Carlson is being allowed there, because he will be helping propaganda.
But the interview didn't put an end to the fighting, which rages on tonight. This woman was sleeping on her sofa when Russia once again attacked the civilian population in a series of nighttime missile and drone attacks throughout Ukraine. At least 5 were killed today following a Russian drone attack on an industrial complex, residential buildings, and a sports hall. In the Donetsk region, a Russian bombardment killed a woman and injured 7 people during the night. The attack, which hit several blocks of homes, damaged a school where the victim was found. And new today, the UN Committee on the Rights of Child urged Russia to end the forcible transfer of children from occupied areas of Ukraine and return them to their families.
And it is our conclusion that there are evidence of forceful transfer of children from Ukraine to Russia.
Kyiv says 20,000 kids have been taken from Ukraine to Russia without their families' consent, and the International Criminal Court is seeking the arrest of Russian President Vladimir Putin for alleged illegal deportation. It's an accusation the Kremlin denies.
We cannot identify the number of these children, but we know that there are many.
Meanwhile, President Vladimir Zelensky of Ukraine removed his top general in the biggest leadership shakeup since Russia's invasion 2 years ago.
Today we had a frank discussion about what needs to be changed in the army. Urgent changes.
Colonel General Alexander Sorsky, who has led Ukraine's ground forces since 2019, was promoted to commander of the armed forces today as the war with Russia nears its third year. He replaces General Zaluzhny.
Я вдячний генералу Залужному за 2 роки захисту.
I am grateful to General Zaluzhny for 2 years of defense. I'm grateful for every victory that we have achieved together. And thanks to all Ukrainian soldiers who are heroically enduring this war.
The military shakeup comes at a difficult time for Ukraine on the battlefield, with troops facing acute ammunition shortages as vital military assistance had been held up in the United States.
The motion upon reconsideration is agreed to.
The Senate voted today to advance the foreign aid package with assistance for Ukraine and Israel. The $95.3 billion package now moves one step closer to a final vote.